Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Sports Saviors. It is April 28th, 2024, about 6:50 p.m. Shout out Miss Hope. My mom's birthday is today.
Happy birthday, Miss Hope.
And then it was big, almost birthday weekend for the Steelers. The NFL draft happened. They got a few gifts, as you would say.
Yeah.
From everything I've seen and read, it's been a great draft for the Steelers. Everyone seems to be
hmm
pretty positive about it. What are your opening thoughts about the draft this week?
Yeah, I think that they definitely had a really good draft. They got a lot of players to, on the O line. I think there was like three of their picks were at least O line players, and they got a couple defensive guys and wide receiver. Definitely a lot of the positions we talked about. They pretty much picked up everything that they needed. I was actually kind of shocked about the linebacker thing. I wasn't too sure they needed one, but again, the Steelers, when it comes to wide receivers and linebackers, the Steelers are one of the best teams to do it. So I
Mhm.
think, maybe they picked up another good guy, for the linebacking position and hopefully it's a good fit. And I think I just think they had a really good draft. I think when it comes out, with the analysts that do the grading for the drafts, I think that, they'll put the Steelers probably up there, maybe B minus, A minus, B plus, area. So I think they did really good.
Yeah, let's go right through it. Let's run through these guys and talk about the picks they made this weekend. Started
hmm
on Thursday night with Troy Fatanu, a offensive tackle out of Washington. He's 6'3", 317. 20th overall pick for the Steelers here. He started 29 games at left tackle at Washington. Uh, we didn't talk too much about him in our reviews because Dane Brugler and a lot of other guys have him as a guard. So he
Yeah.
wasn't a guy we really focused on, but he played 29 games at left tackle, and he's considered like one of the most versatile linemen in this draft, a possible
Yeah.
five position prospect. Um,
Wow.
so it'll be interesting to see. I think he's a great player. I mean, he's ranked
Yeah.
not many people expected him to be here for the Steelers at this pick. I liked it after thinking about it for a little bit. At first, I got a little cautious because of the idea of him being announced as a tackle, but played guard for most of his career. I just had flashbacks
Yeah.
to the last couple times where they've tried to shift guys from guard to center and tackle to guard, where it really hasn't worked out the way that they would want to. But
Yeah.
the more I read into it, the fact that he actually did play the position, it wasn't like they it, people switching him to a guard seems to be the more surprising move than the fact that the Steelers announced him as a tackle. I think.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you. I was a little shaky on that as well, how they announced him and what his position was. But again, I think this was a good pickup for the Steelers. I think that, with him being able to move around to different positions and be able to play different spots on the field, on the O line, I think that he'll be a great asset to the offensive line. Um, I think that this is definitely what we needed. On the O line, this is definitely somebody we needed to pick up for sure. Again, yeah, like you said earlier, I don't think he was maybe going to be there at our 20th pick, but it was good that we picked him up. It was somebody that we really didn't talk about. A lot of the guys that we did talk about for the tackle position were picked up early and are were already gone. But I think this is going to be a great asset, a great pickup that the Steelers got, to the O line and to the Steeler organization as well.
Yeah, one of the things I think that people were pushing him to guard for was his size at 6'3".
hmm
Usually, when you see a tackle, you're seeing 6'5" or up like that. Maybe
Yeah,
sometimes just 6'4". But his arm length is right on par with the tackles. So I think it's actually going to be a positive if he ends up being a tackle. He can get some
yeah,
leverage over there at 6'3". He's going to get under guys. A lot of times now, these edge rushers, especially with TJ Watt, it's all about leverage and getting around a big
yeah,
guy. And maybe the fact that he's 6'3" can be a positive going through some of these
yeah,
quicker guys on the edge. I know he is considered one of the better athletes on the line too. That's another thing, positive there. And then
Mhm.
one more big positive. He was a Steelers fan his whole life. He's been a
Yeah.
big Steelers
Yeah.
fan. I think Troy
Yeah.
Polamalu is one of the reasons for that. I know
Yeah.
someone posted a tweet from like 2017 where he's calling Ben Roethlisberger the GOAT. So
Wow.
it seems to have
Wow.
he's not just bullshitting when he says he's a
Yeah.
Steeler fan.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have him. Welcome to the team and welcome to the Berg, Troy. Got another Troy on the team.
Yeah, another Troy, another Polynesian. I would say I should probably
Yeah.
be careful because I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the good pick. Everywhere I see, it's either an A or a B plus. I don't even know if I've
Yeah.
seen a B plus. I think everyone's been grading this out really well. Everyone likes this
Yeah.
pick, and who might argue with the consensus of people that know much more than I know, right?
Yeah. I hear you.
Uh-huh. So next pick, second round pick, a guy we did mention a lot throughout the process here.
Yeah.
I know I highlighted him as one of the guys that I thought that they would have to either trade back or trade up to get is Zach Frazier, the center out of West Virginia. They didn't have to do
Yeah.
either of those things. They stayed pat, got him with the 51st overall pick. He's 46 games he started. 38 of those games have been at center. And
Wow.
he's 6'2", 13 pounds. Everywhere I'm reading, he's a day one starter. He's going to come in. He's not the flashiest guy. He's not going to blow anyone away with anything, but he's going to be a day one starter for the Steelers, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was definitely a pick that we needed with Mason Cole no longer on the team, being released. I think that this is going to be another great I think he's going to be a great asset to the team, and I think this was a great pickup for the Steelers. It was good that he was available at the 51st pick for us, that he wasn't taken earlier. So it looks like we were able to just pick up another great player. I definitely, with 2 picks for the O-line, I think this was great because our offensive line has been a little shaky over the past couple of years. And now back, we definitely have somebody, that's able to, we definitely have, some players now that are able to help Russell Wilson, block for him and be on the line and have a great center to be able to snap the ball for us.
Yeah, we all complained about the line play needing improvements, and they came out here and they grabbed 2 guys real fast the first 2 rounds. And that's what when we've been working through our drafts, our mock drafts, that's something we were always looking to do. Sometimes we had to shift it if there was no one available, but we got 2 good guys here. I think that Frazier, like everyone's saying, is going to be a starter right away. And I don't see any way that Fatanu is not in the starting role too. I know you got Dan Moore, you got Broderick Jones, you got some steadiness at the guards, but he's going to be playing somewhere, I think.
For sure.
Week 1.
Next
up, we had 2 third-round picks here. I'm going to pull those 2 guys at the else. The 2 Wilsons. We got Roman Wilson, the receiver from Michigan, and Peyton Wilson, the linebacker from NC State. Roman Wilson was the number 1 receiver on the national championship team. They didn't throw the ball a lot, but when they did, it was going to him. He ended up with 12 touchdowns on the season. He's a solid back. He's not huge, a big guy, but I think he really will mesh well with George Pickens. He'll be a nice slot guy. He'll fill a little bit of that Johnson role. They're not mirror images of each other, but I think that was a good pickup there.
Yeah, I do too. Definitely was another need for us wide receiver wise. I like that. What you just said about him. I mean, his stats wise, I think that he's going to be a great fill. Like you said, he's not going to fill the shoes of Deontay Johnson, but he'll definitely fill that spot and be a nice, probably nice second or third to George Pickens and Calvin Austin, depending on, how they will be positioned. I think this was another great pickup. Wide receivers is always one of the best for the Steelers. So we probably got a guy that a lot of people overlooked, and, we picked him up in the 3rd round. I think this was great that we got him in the 3rd round and we got what we needed to do for the first 2 picks. But I think this is a great pickup for the Steelers.
Yeah, I think he's a definite 2nd round talent by a lot of people. As I was looking through different draft grades and everything, it was another one that was positive. I saw a lot of A's for this pick. I think He's a really solid guy there. And then the next pick was not a need per se, but I think this was a situation where they just found a guy that was too high on their board to pass up. And Peyton Wilson, he's a linebacker from NC State. From everything I can tell, he's a great player. The one issue is there's an injury. He's played through all the injuries, but there's injury scares. Apparently, I read that he may not even have an ACL in one of his knees.
Wow.
So it's going that's probably why he fell to them in this third round. But on the field, he's an amazing player. You can see that picture. He's the captain. He was a captain for NC State. You got the C on his chest there. He's a fast guy. He can play from sideline to sideline. I'm not going to go into my rhetoric like I have a clue what the scouting of the player is. But this is a great player that they just couldn't pass up with at the third round, 98 overall. I think he's probably way up on their board compared to the 98th pick, and they just grabbed him.
Yeah. Again, it was a surprise pick, but again, linebacker is another position that the Steelers are great at picking, and I think that he'll be a great asset if he's, on the second team defense for a linebacking position to come in and, maybe give TJ or Alex Highsmith some breaks,
I think he'll play more on the inside, if I'm correct.
More on the inside? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So maybe he'll come in and maybe he could, depending on who is going to be next to Patrick Queen, maybe he'll be in there with him or giving breaks for Patrick Queen and whatnot, and be a great asset to the defense, just to kind of help boost our defense up.
Yep. I do like both these picks, the two Wilsons. They'll be connected forever as third-round picks for the Steelers here.
Yeah.
Hopefully they get some impact in throughout their careers. It'll be nice to see what happens with the two guys. But let's finish off our draft coverage, our draft review, I guess, with some late round picks that I put here as late round depth. Fourth round pick was Mason McCormick, who's a guard / center. I think he's going to be more of a guard from South Dakota. At this point, I think they, like I said with other picks, it's probably who they had on the top of their board. So they went and grabbed another guard center, even though they picked up two linemen early in the draft. It definitely shows that they're committed to fixing the issues that they've had on the line.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, again, another pickup definitely needed to add depth to that line in case of injury. Like you said, we do have Broderick Jones and we did pick up two other guys, and we do have Dan Moore, but just depending on how things are going to go, I think that this was just another big pickup. And like you said, they are committed to protecting the quarterback and maybe getting that running game started back up and being that blue collar Pittsburgh running team that we used to see in the past. So I think that this was definitely a great, another pickup for the Steelers for sure to kind of help add to the team, add to the depth, add to, try to fix what hasn't been working over the past couple of years. So I think this was another great pick for them.
And then in the sixth round, they grabbed two guys. First was Logan Lee. He's a defensive lineman out of Iowa. This is a definite depth guy. I think he's going to be a guy who probably will be in the league for a long while, I bet. But he's never going to be that starter for anyone. They're seeing him as a reserve base end in a 4-3 or a 3 technique. Base end in a 3-4, 3 technique in a 4-3. I think it's the kind of guys that you got to get, and if you hit on these guys, that's when you start building a roster with depth that can help your team win games late. He can come in when guys are tired, when guys are injured, and just show some motor. I think that's part of his thing is he's got a high motor. He's a high energy guy, good teammate, all that bullshit, I guess. But any thoughts on Logan Lee?
I mean, it could be one of those things where, like we've talked about before in the past, where you pick up a guy in the late round and maybe they could be a special talent for the team, or and if they don't, stay on the team, be a special talent for another team going on in the rest of their career. I think that this could definitely be somebody, like you said, for depth that could come in and maybe give rest to Cam Hayward or whoever else is going to be on the line defensively. I think that, Logan Lee could turn out to be a great prospect depending on how he plays and how he's going to, provide, like you said, that energy to the team. So could be another could be a potential starter down the line if, he's a great, key player, in making plays on the team. It's just going to see how it's going to go. But I think, like you said, it was a great depth pickup that the Steelers needed for sure to just kind of fill another spot.
And that spot on the Steelers teams, you don't need a flashy guy. You just need a meat and potatoes guy.
Yeah,
if you can come in and figure it out, and that would be great to see there. And
Yeah.
finally, we had Ryan Watts, a defensive back out of Texas. He played cornerback in college, and apparently he has the measurables. He has the talent to stay a corner, but he made some bad decisions as a cornerback, and some people think that might push him to safety in the NFL there.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is another position that the Steelers needed to pick up, defensive back. I mean, if he can play that, that DB and safety position, I think that could help, depending on how the Steelers are going to run their defense, moving forward. It was great to see, what Patrick Peterson did. He was playing cornerback, and then, we had him move to safety, and he was able to fill that spot. And maybe this could be a guy that comes in, hopefully there's no injuries. Hopefully, nothing else crazy going on with drama and stuff with some of the players, but that can kind of help fill a spot on the defense. But, this is definitely another position that we spoke about that the Steelers need to fill out. And I think with these 7 picks that the Steelers got, I think they hit it on the nail and filled everything they needed to fill and added depth and added, the positional players that they needed to this team.
Yeah, and when you're going in the 6th round, that's a good point about maybe he does. You're looking for something, get lucky, and maybe moving from corner to safety, that sparks something in him, and he just goes to the position and fills the position out well. And you get a guy who, if he would have been a safety in college, maybe he's going earlier in the draft, 2nd, 3rd round, but no one knew how good he'd be as a safety. So that is a good point there. I did throw up some of these undrafted guys. They picked up the 5 guys at the end of the night, I guess during the day, probably, huh? Beanie Bishop, cornerback from West Virginia. DeJohn Edwards, a running back out of Georgia. John Reese Plumley, a quarterback from Central Florida. Julius Washoff, a linebacker from Charlotte. And Jacoby Windman, a linebacker out of Michigan State. I'm not going to pretend I know too much about these guys or that we can pretty much predict anything from them. There'll be guys that will be in camp this season. Good luck for them. Edwards is probably a national champion. You have to guess because he's at Georgia, even though they didn't win this past year. They won a couple of seasons. Some names there. I don't know if you want to add anything or not, but I figured we'd put them out there for.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, hoping for the best for these guys. When they go out to camp and get out there to make some tryouts. To kind of see if they can make the team. Maybe they'll make an impact and make a spark. Who knows? It's like you said, we don't need the flashy guys. Maybe they're just, the positional players or the depth that we need, to maybe make the practice squad or get called up later on, or maybe another team sees them as something that they can use later on down the road as well. So it just, wishing for the best for these guys. Good luck to them, and good luck to the draft picks that we got. Hoping for a great, summer camp for them, and looking forward to the preseason to see how all these guys kind of mesh out and kind of get things moving, for the NFL season in the fall.
Yeah, to summarize it one more time, these were the positions we said when we started our previews of the NFL draft for the Steelers. What we thought they were going to need: center, wide receiver, offensive tackle, defensive back. This is what they've done. Boom.
Yep.
They hit all 5 of the positions we referenced. I got Zach Frazier at center. They got Roman Wilson at wide receiver, Troy Fautanu at offensive tackle, Logan Lee, defensive tackle, Ryan Watts at defensive back. Mason McCormick might even be a center there. And then you got Payne Wilson there at linebacker, next guy there. They hit all 5 of the positions we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. I think that says something about what they were looking for, and I think it says something about what we were able to find out and look and see what positions Steelers need to fill.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they did a great job. This offseason has just been tremendous and amazing for the Steelers. Omar Khan has really kind of shown us and shown out and shown, and let the Steeler Nation know, like, hey, we hear you guys. We know you guys aren't happy with the way things have gone over the past couple of years. So we're here to make changes, just like Mike Tomlin said in his final press conference. I've referenced that before. I think they really listened, and they heard what we had to say, and I think maybe they really are ready to make that change that we've been waiting for the past couple of years. And I think Omar Khan's been kind of a man of his, he's 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 been the man that he has portrayed he wants to be, and he wants the Steelers to kind of be the team that he wants them to be, and he's doing everything that he has to do. Again, great free agency pickups we've had over the offseason, and definitely a really good draft, and they've hit everything that we've talked about. And I think the Steelers are ready to go back to being a winning and championship, team that they used to be in the past. And I'm excited to see how this preseason is going to go. Waiting to hear about the news for the, summer camp, and ready for the season to start in the fall.
Yeah, you can't argue with the effort they put in. Now it depends on how good of an evaluator they are, and how they can put the effort into actually getting some wins on the field, and turning this team back into a championship caliber roster. I think that's the goal here in Pittsburgh. It's nice to go to the playoffs. It's nice to go over 500, but we want to have a championship caliber team, and hopefully the moves they made this offseason, like you brought up, the draft this past weekend can help get them there. I still think they do need to make some. There's still a little bit more they need. I think they need another receiver. There's been names out there. There's been Ayuk's the big one. He stayed in San Fran over the weekend. I wonder if he's still going to be a guy that is on the block with the months coming up on the season. We're only in April. Season starts in September. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
This will be a little shorter one, but I think that's good here. I think
yeah.
I'm cool wrapping it up here, Lee. How you feel about that one?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with it all. Again, congrats to the guys that got drafted. Good luck to them in the summer camp, and thanking Omar Khan for being a man of his word, and Mike Tomlin as well. And they did the change, and now let's see how things go in the fall.
Sounds good to me. I'll see you, Lee.
I'll see you.